Frank Sinatra on KLOS, and a very good morning to you. It's a Monday morning, the 31st of March, 1997. Welcome. It's time for the Impact program. Impact is the in-studio guest format where we discuss a wide variety of topics. Tonight I do have an in-studio guest that, if you're a regular listener, you know if it's Frank Sinatra, it must be...
This is Raymond J. Castellani.
I have the founder of the Frontline Foundation in studio, Ray Castellani. How are you, Ray?
I'm fine, Frank. How are you today?
I'm well. You like Frank Sinatra, do you?
I love Frank Sinatra. Love Frank Sinatra.
Do you know you probably have the dubious distinction of playing an artist that has never in the history of 30-some-odd years of the radio station ever been played before? Frank Sinatra.
On the radio station?
On this radio station. I doubt that anyone else has ever played Frank Sinatra other than us.
Well, I'll tell you, with all these rabble-rousers that's around KLOS, it's the first time that
I'm guessing. Maybe Stu. Maybe Stu slipped one in late at night. You met Stu a couple of times ago, but no, I suspect we're the only ones.
Well, that's great. That's what's the word? Rebellious. That's being a little bit different. Daring.
What's wrong with being different, huh?
I love it. I love it. I was different all my life. I'm still different.
Yeah,
no, there's nothing wrong with that. As long as it's to the good side. I mean, you don't want to be obliquely wacko. But no, there's it's innovation. It's courage and all those things go into making to being different. I've said this to you many times. Because I support kindness, it makes me different. Because I support understanding, that makes me different. Because, but if I were to go with anger and hate and things like that, I could have a great following. But so there's a lot of ways to be different.
These are strange times that we live, are they not?
Terribly strange, unbelievably strange, and sad times too.
Yeah. For those, this is the first question I always ask you, but I guess I have to ask it because there are a lot of new listeners that have never heard you before, and I would suspect some that have heard you a few times before as well. Talk a little bit about the Frontline Foundation. Okay.
Frontline. I want to say this too, Frank, before I start. To anybody that's listening, that's heard us before, if we sound like, if I sound like I'm talking like the same, or that I've heard this before, et cetera, in my framework, I want to lay this out so that everybody can understand this. My framework has been the same for many years. I have not changed. So that when people say or will say, "Oh, I've heard him before," and my God, it's the same stuff. Well, it may be boring and it may be the same material, but that's what I'm stuck with. And if I were to change it, I'd be lying. If I were to change the way I felt inside, I would be lying to you. I would be lying to anybody that would be listening. So to all those people that are clicking on that I've heard Ray before and Frank before, and I've heard this stuff before, God bless you. You're going to hear it one more time, or you have a beautiful prerogative to turn it off, and you don't have to hear it. That's for all those people that just clicked on to that kind of idea. Anyway, now to get back to Frontline. Frontline Foundation was not out of choice for me 10 years ago now. It's going on 10. And it was 10 years ago at this time that I was, so to speak, lost in my own life. I took a hiatus from everything and went in my truck and took off for parts unknown. And very despondent and very low and not a very pleasant trip. And the inception of what I was to do was to come up, which was to go to back to Los Angeles. I was many miles away, and to serve food. I'm cutting this story very short. To serve food. This was over a 6 or 7 month period. To serve food in an area known as Skid Row in downtown Los Angeles. And in December of 1987, I went downtown that particular day with 111 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and this overwhelming feeling of this is what I had to do. And from that, thinking it was only a one-time deal, and from that point in 1987 to this point, 560,000 meals have been served in the same area to different people, but in the same area. So Frontline Foundation, you would say, well, is a food-serving organization. Wrong. Frontline Foundation, it was dictated to me to give for the purity of giving, to care for my fellow man, to not receive any compensation for what I have done or what I have was to start. We are now Frontline Foundation, obviously, is a nonprofit corporation, which I had to abide by the rules. To have a group of volunteers so powerful to be able to perform such a energetic endeavor, so to speak, to look for no accolades, to be an example of love, understanding, compassion in this area, and to enjoy the privilege of being of service to mankind. Wow, I like that. To enjoy the privilege, and it is a privilege. And this is it's a privilege for me to be on your show, Frank. I humbly thank you and your producer, Tammy, for having me on, because this is not, we may joke around a little bit and we may play around a little bit, but this is very serious business to me. Serious business because we're losing the battle of compassion for our fellow man. And so when I have an opportunity to come on your show, an opportunity to thank that hundreds of letters, and it's one of the most phenomenal things these last several years on being on the show with you. The letters that have come from the people that hear us, Frank, you and myself, I'm just talking about this particular hour, is phenomenal. Letters, I have a box of them. I'm sorry I didn't save them from the way beginning, but letters of inspiration say, I inspire them, they inspire me. Little notes, letter after letter after letter. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Ray. I thank each and every one of you out there listening. Thank you, because it is for them that I'm here, because they have inspired me. They give me hope. They give me, they care for me, these notes. And I keep them in a box, and I looked at them, and I said, my God, this is a phenomenal situation, because these people, I don't know a lot of them. I mean, I don't know 90% of the letters that come to me, but it's a powerful demonstration that there's people out there that care and care about what we are doing and what I specifically am doing, because I'm a guest on your show, but obviously what you're doing, because you're putting this out over the airwaves. And so I want to thank all those people. I want to touch each and every one's soul and say thank you, because without that, I could go along in the dark, which is fine. But they're the light. The people are the light. The people on Skid Row are the light. The listeners are the light of hope. And I want to just lay that out there, real easy like. And so Frontline is it's not just to serve food. It's
food, in a sense, is the vehicle.
Right. Food is the vehicle. Food is the vehicle for the compassion and understanding, love. These are the so to speak, principles that are unselfishness. These are the principles that are so badly lacking in our society today, and that's the tragedy of what goes on.
I have a question I've never asked you before, and it's going to take a moment to formulate it, so I'll give it a go here. You said something very interesting a few moments ago. You said this wasn't your choice.
Correct.
Okay. Now, we have a mindset in our culture that we're in control of our lives and we're going to create our own destinies and we're going to achieve this and have success in that area and we're going to do so much with our lives. Like we have that power. And yet, I heard you say something almost completely different. And what I mean by that is, this was something that you were directed to do.
Correct.
In a sense, we're talking about a different power here.
Correct. And I had no choice in what in this endeavor here. I know this is totally contradictory to what you just said there. The only power that I have, the only choice that I have is to use that power or that choice into the power of a power greater than myself, to seek that strength, to seek that energy, and then to exercise that energy into helping people. Period.
Which was going to be the second part of the question. If we can just for a moment imagine our culture, we can agree, could benefit more from compassion and kindness. But why don't we have it? Maybe part of it is because we're so caught up in our own deal and making our own thing happen and being so self-absorbed that we're missing a greater opportunity to, in a sense, work with a higher power.
Well, that's true. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. But the bondage, I've said this, the bondage of self, I am wrapped up in me. I sing that song. I've sang it here. Do, re, mi, me, 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 me. And it is the everything today, or no matter which area one goes into, it's for the betterment of self. And I'm not into that area. I'm as good as I'm going to be today. I'm not going to be any better, I don't think. And it doesn't make any difference how good I am or how not good I am. I don't mean in a negative sense. I mean just if I haven't progressed any further than I have 2 or 3 years ago, it's irrelevant to me. There's no relevance to any of it. There's nothing going on in my head about any of these things because I swim or I exist in a world of freedom. I don't have anything clinging to me. I don't have to be better than or less than or higher than or any other kind of than. And this is a great freedom. That's the word, freedom. Everybody says, oh, I'm free. I mean, I just don't, it just doesn't enter into my computer. There's only one thing I care about, and that's my fellow man or woman, both. I mean, fellow man. I don't even see woman or man. I don't see children. I don't see any of that stuff. I just see God's child, a human being, and that's all I see. So there's a whole area there that and I am directed only to serve that entity. Period. And that's all I make an effort to do. Everything I do is to be of service to. And there's nothing, no self-seeking motives in me at all.
No necessarily, oh, well, it helps you feel good about yourself.
No. That's the most silliness thing in the world. My God, all my life, Frank, all my life, I sought to better my feelings, to better myself. Any bar I walked into, I was only looking about one person, me. And every drink I ever drank, I only thought about one person, me. I thought the betterment of self. When I was a young kid growing up into my adolescence and so on, I only thought about one thing, me. And it was terrible. It was just terrible. And so here I come at my twilight years in my life, and I'm going to start thinking about me again? Oh, how boring. How boring. It's just boring. And, and I want to get a good job, and I want to make the money, and I want the big house, and I want the small house, and I want the girlfriend or the boyfriend or the wife, or I want your wife or your girlfriend, or so on down the line. I mean, my God, it just goes on and on and on and on. Or I'm going to really get this job and make a a thing of myself. What's the matter with one human being looking at a little old lady across the street and saying, let me help that lady across the street? And that is the epitomization of the will of God. Hate to say that, but that's the way it is. And I always have to say this too, Frank, because it's important, because you get people are people, and people are always criticizing, quick to criticize, quick to throw the jabs, quick to do all these things. I have thousands and thousands of people down on Skid Row that will back every single word I say up, period. And they'll back it up with their lives, they'll back it up with their humanistic feelings towards me, they'll back it up with their look in their eye, but they will back me up because I have walked the way I have talked, and I have done what I have done for no other reason except to help and be a little bit kinder to my fellow man. So for those that are, and there are cynics, Frank, you're going to get them. You're going to get them all the time. Cynic, well, I don't like this, and I don't like. You're just going to. It's a bad seed going all over, and people are afraid to take that one step out and say, I want to be a nice person today. Jesus, be a nice person today, and that's all. I mean, that's all I'm all about is trying to not be so as you said, self-absorbed. Oh my God, the absorption of self, and so these are the little principles that I try to incorporate into my, or not try, that's the wrong word. Can't try to pick up a cup of coffee. Either pick it up or you drink it or you don't pick it up. But to make an effort where the freedom of self is involved, where there's no other handout to say, I'll do this for you if you do that for me. I mean, I just stopped all that stuff. I can lie and cheat and con and steal and be deceitful, and I can do that, trust me, Frank, with the best of them, at any time. But it's not there anymore. It's not there anymore. I went to the very bottom of life itself, and wallowed in the bottom of the barrel for so many years, and so I know what it's like to do all these things, and I don't do it. I don't do it anymore. It's not in me anymore. I can't. It's not in me. So I've a whole new set of principles guide me, and that's where the change takes place. And so, in order for me to have been, what's the word I look for? In order for me to have been the instrument to be used to serve, to be honored to serve 560,000 meals to the hungry of our city here in Los Angeles, I had to be cleaned out. I had to be cleaned out of all motives. I had to be stretched and cleaned and ironed out, and all this junk that's in the human mind had to go out. Period. And I had to get to a point where it was clear water. Where all of a sudden, little simple thing like, I just got to help you out. That's all, man. And that's where I had to go. I was like, with no motives and no
agendas.
No agenda. Right? Yeah, there's a word. No agendas. So, anyway, that's. And I'm glad I reached that point. I would just be very, very happy sitting around a table with my dogs and just I'm content. There's no I love to sit down on Skid Row. I know this is not anybody's dream, but I'd love to sit down on Skid Row at Fifth and Crocker in a chair, and just everybody comes by and we say hello and how are you, and I love being on the streets. I mean, I wouldn't suggest it for everybody to be at that juncture, but I love being there. I love being on those streets. I love being used as an instrument to talk to people on those streets. It's sad streets and hard streets, but there's also a tremendous amount of learning that goes on there.
There's been a tremendous amount of learning that has gone on there for the last 10 years. Things obviously are a bit different in the dynamic of you and the people of Skid Row now than December of 1987.
Yeah, it's a 180 degree. If you can get any further than 181 degree, no, 180 degrees, then it's a total communion with me on the streets. It's I was there 2 weeks ago with a friend of mine, and I was at 5th and San Pedro, and I didn't park my car, my truck was running, and just so many people came up to me, and God, they just, I mean, not 1, 2, 3, but maybe in a matter of 10 or 12 minutes, maybe 75 to 100 people came by and said, "Ray, I love you," and Ray, and it was a beautiful moment for me. But they're all beautiful moments. But everybody understands what I'm doing, and I'm not out to change anybody. That's another thing. I'm not out to change. I accept everybody the way they are. I'm not out to change anybody. I'm not out to make anybody better or anybody worse. That's not my job. And so there's a lot of things that I've learned that I'm just there to say hello, to heal, to touch a human being with a little kindness, to touch another human being on the shoulder. It is a magnificent moment to touch somebody on the forearm and say, "Hey, my brother, I love you." Oh my God, it's awesome. It's awesome. And so these are moments for me whenever I'm that's where I should be. That's where I should be. Even on some of the people will hear me tonight, and they'll hear me tomorrow morning. They'll go, "Hey, Ray, I heard you on the show last night," blah blah blah. But that's where I should be. I should be there all the time. I should just sit there like a lump and sit there because that's where I should be. And
where you are now is you have a tremendous amount of responsibility to keep Frontline going between the paperwork, all the coordination of things. You've got a lot to do.
Well, yes, this is a foundation. Obviously, it's a corporation. There's a tremendous amount of now. This is not small anymore. And that's what is another thing that was so exciting that about the which I got to mention, that the people, the response to the $3 Club has been, we have 152 members now, which is unbelievable. A year ago we were on the show, Frank. We had 10, I think, and that's going to subsidize, put Frontline to another level. Once I have about another 100 or maybe 200 more, because I'm going to be able to hire a human being in that kitchen, and we're going to be able to put out at least right away another 40,000 meals a year. So we'll go to 100,000 meals a year, and that's exciting. I can't take it there. I can just orchestrate it because I'm so deluged in like you said, the amount of paperwork and the responsibility of Frontline itself with the hundreds of volunteers, which is great, but there has to have some coordination with all this. So I'll teach another human being how to do that. But I can't touch the structure that's already structured. I can't take money from the dinners and from your dinners that are so beautiful. Another powerful instrument, are the dinners at Frontline. I mean, we have people like Ron Rowe. I mean, he comes to all these dinners. He just all of a sudden decided to come. He's been coming ever since. And the brunches. I mean, these people. The response has been powerful and so beautiful. But I can't touch those sticks, so to speak. That framework that's already in place. This must be another thing. The Frontline 80 takes care of the rent. The $3 Club will vault us into another dimension as far as it takes a little more people. It's not as, but it's moving along. It is moving along, and everybody get this. Oh, this is a lot of fun too. If everybody, we have a page on the internet, and we put everybody's name that's on the $3 Club on the internet, and also the Frontline 80. So they're all over the world now. But we put the format of the Frontline 80 in what we do in one of the links, and we put the names in. So it's kind of nice. But the internet now has reached people in Boston, Massachusetts that are supporting us, in Plougasville, Texas. I can't pronounce that word too good. That are supporting us with a $3 Club member. Virginia, and a couple of other places I can't think. But so it's beginning. They see the page, they say, "Wow, this is beautiful." And so these are the areas, and this came. Everything that's been done is not my idea. It's been instrumented to me to do this. Sometimes I'm wrong, but I do act upon most intuitive feelings. I'm talking too much, Frank.
No, you're not. I'm going to reintroduce you, though. This is the founder of the Frontline Foundation, Ray Castellani. We're going to take a break in just a few moments and open the phone lines. If you have any questions or comments for Ray, we'll do that in about 5 or 10 minutes. If someone wants to get involved, if they're thinking, wow, maybe this is the time. I've heard Ray a couple of times before. I want to get involved somehow. I don't know. Or maybe someone has not heard you before and says, this is quite interesting. This is not the norm. I hear this man talking for a half an hour about just being compassionate and serving fellow human beings. Maybe I want a part of that. What would you suggest somebody does?
Well, there's two ways. Number one is they can write me. That's number one. At Frontline Foundation, P.O. Box 570303, Tarzana 91357. That's Frontline Foundation, Box 570303, Tarzana 91357. That's one way. The other way is to come down to Frontline itself, and that's on right off of Oxnard and Sepulveda in the valley, and just cross over Sepulveda Boulevard towards the 405, and the first alley, take a left, and that's when you get into the open spaces, you'll see Frontline Foundation, and we're there every day except Sunday, and they can be involved that way. They can be involved with the $3 Club. They can be involved with the Frontline A. They can be involved with the brunches. They can be involved with the dinners. They can be involved with having tuna fish drives in their neighborhoods. They can be involved. They can be involved in any capacity that they'd like. It's about as open as you possibly could. I have churches. I have synagogues. I have little kids in the nursery schools. I've got kids in the first and second grades. I've got kids in high schools. They're all involved in what we do here. That's why I said before. There's just thousands and thousands and thousands of people that are involved in this endeavor. It's not me. I just am on the radio with you, Frank. But I mean, there's just thousands of people that are in their own little home areas helping out. So there's just so many ways to help out. People say, "Well, I'd like to just not get involved," and they want to send me 10 cents. I don't care. It doesn't, put it in an envelope and mail it to me. It'll go to good use. I have somebody that's about 3 years old. Gabrielle, her name is, and she goes around and asks everybody for change. She's just 3 or 4 years old, and then she gives it to her grandmother to bring down to me. And when she got about $2.32, but I put it in the account and I put her name down. I write her a thank you note and I say thank you. Of course, always remember Stevie, that loved that girl, and she's a member of the $3 Club. She wants her own envelope, and so there's a tremendous involvement with so many people. I mean, any capacity, Frank. I mean, it's just about as open as you can get. they want to come down and serve food, fine. There are just other areas that they can help besides just that coming over and making food.
I had someone that I know call me yesterday and say they want to come to one of my events. And the message was, well, what I would really like to do, if Ray's got something coming up, I want to go to one of those. If there's a brunch or dinner coming up. You have a brunch coming up in April, do you not?
In April 27th on a Sunday. And it's going to be quite exciting. We're having it at Maria's Italian Kitchen, but we're going to move it to our house, in the presence of our house, where it's going to be much more relaxing. It's going to be catered by Maria's, which is the Italian food. But it's going to be an exciting time. It's going to be a fun time, a much more relaxing time. It's going to be at 12 o'clock. We'll have to get you there, Frank. Yeah, I know you sleep, but you can get there at 1 because it's going to be at our house, so you can get there at 2, for that matter. And but it's always beautiful to see you there and Tammy there, because there's a lot of people there that want to say hello to you because you've been so instrumental in their lives, and that's what it's about. I was driving down here today. I said, "What am I? I'm crazy. Here I am with all that I got to do, and tomorrow, which is going to be an unbelievable day for me, I'm driving down the middle
of the night, and you're used to getting up at the crack of dawn.
Oh, well, I'll be up at 4:30 this morning. The dogs will get me up, and I'm saying to myself, it's crazy, but yet, what am I going? What else am I going to do? I mean, I cannot not say I can't do this because this is not for me. This is not even to enhance anything. This is because I want to express, and I want to talk a little bit, and you've been so powerful. What you've done far reaches anything that I think I don't even know if we both can comprehend what you and I have generated over the years with people are always coming by. Lance and Nanette. Do you know Lance and Nanette?
I sure do. Both.
Okay, Lance and Nanette said hello. They came to Frontline last week for the first time. Lance did last Monday, in fact, and so then he came on Thursday with Nanette, and so they said say hello to Frank for me. So I'm saying hello.
They're
to
both
them.
wonderful people.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. They go to school, but I mean, it's okay. I'll forgive them for that.
I think what I want to do is just take a brief break. Some of the phones are lighting up, and maybe this is a good opportunity to maybe just take a few moments and ask the listeners if they would like to talk to you this morning, if they have any questions or comments about Frontline, about upcoming events, about ways that they can get involved. They're welcome to call. The numbers are 1-800-955-5567. Once again, 1-800-955-KLOS. If you'd like to talk to my guest, Ray Castellani, we'd love to hear from you. And we'd say the only prerequisite is that these calls are loving.
Oh,
how's that sound?
That's it. We don't
want, Ray, what about getting them jobs? We don't want to hear necessarily.
No. I don't. I just don't answer those questions anymore. If somebody's on the street, and I can't. All I want to do is help out a little bit. That's all I want to do. Jobs, no jobs, or make a change. I'm not out there for that. That's not my thing. They're going to have to call somebody else, bigger and more stronger than me, to do that, or somebody that's into that. There are so many programs out there that are money oriented, that do all the things that everybody. How about jobs? How about rehabilitation? How about living quarters? How about showers? How about doctors? How about anybody? How about rehab? How about recovery? There's so many money making deals out there that take care of all these questions that they might have. I don't think they'll have any for me, but that they'll say, well, what about jobs? They got places for that. They've got, and they make millions and billions of dollars every day on that kind of stuff. So I'm not into that. It's just not my thing. I know it's crazy, but it's not my thing. That's all.
Okay, again, the numbers are 1-800-955-KLOS or 1-800-955-5567. As always, you talk to our program coordinator, Tammy Richardson. She's in the other room picking up your phone calls even as we speak. We would love to hear from you this morning. And we are going to take a break for all of 60 seconds and be back with more on the Impact program with my guest Ray Castellani from the Frontline Foundation right after this. We're back. This is Impact on KLOS, and my name is Frank Sontag. You know that, and you also know in studio I've got Ray Castellani, and we've got a few phone calls that are coming in, and we'll give Tammy an opportunity to screen those, and we'll talk a bit with you in just a few moments. And until those few moments, Ray, I told you off the air, one of the areas that I'm very, very excited about, aside from every outlet to get involved with Frontline. Years ago when I first met you, I came down for a while and volunteered and went downtown and was a part of that as well. And but I really think this $3 club is it's just so simple but yet so profound. Here's a way that anybody can get involved.
Right.
And for people that don't understand, what does that mean? $3 club, is that $3 a day, $3?
No, $3 a month, and it's not compulsory. In other words, when to activate the $3 club, it's they send the $3 in to Frontline Foundation and make the check out payable to Frontline. It is tax deductible. Make it Frontline Foundation, and then mail it to P.O. Box 570303, Tarzana 91357, and that activates it. Now, let's just say they don't want to continue anymore. When I send them their first blue little slip, on that slip of paper is, I don't wish to participate anymore. I'll contact you when I wish to participate again. Or, skip me this month and pick me up next month. Or, here's my donation of $3 for this month. And on that thing, there's 4 choices. Quarterly, $9, and monthly, $3, quarterly, can't think of the other one, yearly, and then there's one more. But anyway, so it's not a compulsory thing. And if it's not $3, if it's $1, fine. It doesn't make any difference to me. The thing what does make a difference is what you've said, excuse me, is the involvement. People always say, geez, I wish I had enough money and I would really help you out, Ray. 560,000 meals have been served. And I've equated this with the Rose Bowl, 5 times plus 60,000 people. If you can visualize the New Year's Day, the Rose Bowl, that's how many meals have been served through Frontline Foundation. The $3 Club members are the next group, the next echelon, the next force that will vault Frontline into a secure position that will ensure its future. Plus, I'll be able to put out more food because for the first time I will hire a steady person in that kitchen, and they will support, just like the Frontline 80 supports the rent, they will support the one paid human being. Actually, there should be 2. It will be a secretary, a part-time secretary, plus a full-time in the kitchen, and then hopefully a fundraiser, which are the 3 things that Frontline will operate on. And in our bylaws, we'll only have X amount of dollars. I don't need millions of dollars to support this thing because we have so much donated stuff. But the $3 Club is so vital. And now, such an entity, because we do have 152 members now, that's a lot of people that are involved. And kids. I've got kids in high school as far back as Albany, New York, that are involved in the $3 Club in the 8th grade at Albany Academy. It's phenomenal. I mean, they probably all chip in their nickels and dimes. Here's a dime, here's a nickel. You get a bunch of it, and you got $3. But the concept is, I mean, I can't believe it. And it's not a compulsory thing. You're not locked in for the rest of your life.
And that, in a matter of speaking, has been the vehicle by which Frontline has been able to serve so many people. It's been nickels and dimes for the most part.
No, for all the part. It's been nickels and dimes for all. Nobody's come by and said, hey, Ray, it's been the dinners, it's been the brunches, it's been the tremendous amount of donors, besides these little specific clubs, the donors, the backbone that keep Frontline up on its feet, with the gas and electric and the the gas in the vehicles and the maintenance on the trucks and the things like that, because these are the donors. There's 3 separate entities going, probably 4. We also have the product people that buy product, mayonnaise, mustard. There's another way to get involved. Somebody has a lot of mustard, bring it in. Buy it and bring it in. I don't care. Apples, oranges. These are things I need. So there's all these ways, besides the $3 club, but I'm saying the $3 club is going to be a specific thing.
Which was going to be my last question, actually. What type of specific food item do you need? Sometimes you need a specific item, sometimes not. Do you need something specific now?
Well, I always go for light chunk tuna because I'm able now, because of the schools bringing me the tuna and the peanut butter, I'm able to put out peanut butter sandwiches, maybe let's say 30 or 40 of those each time, minimum 10, but on my days I bring 30 or 40. And then I bring down tuna fish 4 times a week now, and egg salad twice a week, because they never get tuna fish downtown. They never get egg salad sandwiches downtown. I have a woman bringing me in fresh oranges. They sound like trivial things, but they're very important things. Fruit, good fruit. Your friends up at the California Fresh Kitchen gave me those apples and little apples, and so all these people are involved. But actually, it's canned tuna is my staple that I whenever I'm on the rail, whenever I'm any place, it's please bring me as much light chunk tuna as you possibly can. So that's what I'm asking for all the time, because I need it.
You want to take some calls?
Sure.
We've got a few people on hold. And again, the numbers are 1-800-955-KLOS. And Martin, you're on the air on the Impact program with Ray Castellani.
Thank you, Frank. And Ray, bless you for all the work you've done.
I love you.
I love you for all the work that you've done. I have a question for you. I see people in the street all the time, like everybody else living here in the big city, and I feel uncomfortable when I see them. I know they're people too, but maybe you could tell me. I've often wondered, who are these people? What has happened to them? What are they like? And what is going to happen to them?
Martin, they are they're the children of God, number one. They're the yous, they're the me's. They've entered an area of life that where 90% of them, this is where they'll end up. This is where 95% of them, maybe more. The people that you see, unless you're down Skid Row, are just sort of wander around in different areas, different spaces, and most of them will. That's where they'll be. Some of them are there temporarily due to certain factors, but the ones that I deal with down on Skid Row, it's a different element. It's a whole different element. Most of the people, the older generation, not the younger ones on Skid Row. The younger ones on Skid Row, they're pretty mean streets down there, but the older ones, this is a life for them. This is where they live. This is where they eat. This is where they survive. This is where, and they're have a tremendous capacity for caring and for loving. It's just that basically they just want to be left alone, and they're able to survive in this area of town, and most of them will die there. In fact, I would probably say, yeah, most of them will. I have a couple of dear friends, well, many friends of mine, but one here just recently where she got killed, murdered, and she was a lovely girl, and somebody just murdered her and put her in a trash can. But I mean, it's tragic, but that happens everywhere too. I mean, in our city, so it's not just down there. But it happens there all the time. I mean, but you never read about that in the paper. So that's the best way I can equate it is it's the bottom of the line. There's no more areas to go to that are the bottom. But they're, as far as human beings go, they are God's children, and they are compassionate and understanding, and have feeling beyond, and share. They have a capability of sharing beyond anything you've ever experienced. And a deep understanding of life itself, and a tremendous respect for another person's area or space. They'll never butt in when somebody is talking to them. Somebody, excuse me, I'm talking to Ray, and they'll just back right off. So there's a tremendous
Respect?
respect. Yeah, that's a word, Frank. Yeah, respect. Does that answer your question, Martin?
It's something that I've always wondered about, and I feel uncomfortable. I feel bad for feeling uncomfortable.
No, don't feel bad. That's your feelings. That's okay. You're entitled to that. Don't worry.
But I've always wondered. I see someone and I will avert my glance towards them. I try not to look uncomfortably for a long time. But I always wondered. There's got to be a story there. What turn in life did this person take to end up where they are now?
Well, see, Martin, maybe where they are now is okay. Did you ever think of that?
Absolutely. That's why I wonder.
Yeah. So always think of that. I mean, you took a turn and did what you did in life, and that person on the street doesn't look at you and say, "I wonder what made Martin make that turn."
Well, Ray, I must tell you, it's not a pity.
Oh, I know that.
But I am curious what kind of what the world is like for someone living on the streets. It cannot be a kind world.
No, it's not kind, but people can adapt. See, the human being has a great adaptability. Can't get that word out. Adaptability, and so that's what it is. You say, well, Jesus, boy, that's awful hard to adapt to that, but it's okay. It's okay. I mean, I've adapted to 10 years on Skid Row, and I never feel bad for anybody, and so I think your feelings are beautiful, and I think that the fact that you even so much as care about your feelings about the people that you see is beautiful. The next time you might just say a little thought and say, "Hey, I love you, man." Not to them personally, but in your head, and go on your way.
Martin, we thank you for the call this morning. Let's see. Kent, you're on the air on KLOS on the Impact Program.
Thank you, Frank. Ray Castellano, this is Kent Crothers. I'm a friend of Sandra's that used to work.
That's right, I know.
How are you?
Good, and how are you, Ken?
Good. Frank, how are you?
We're well, thanks.
Great. Listen, Ray, I wanted to, first of all, thank you for, I've talked with a lot of homeless people that have seen you and talked with you that have come not just through Skid Row, but through Santa Monica. And we, years ago, Frank, you don't know the situation. What I'm about to say is that years ago, I was helping Ray Castellano out, and I was dehydrated in Ellen. And Ray, through my friend Sandra, had come over and assisted me and helped me up, made sure that I was taken care of. And I just basically wanted to call tonight and thank Ray for everything that he has done, not just for the homeless people, but for everyone through his heart.
Thank you, Ken.
And I had a question for you, Ray.
Not too difficult.
I had a question for you. I would like to assist you in any way I can. And is there a way that I can meet your organization downtown at Skid Row?
Well, that Ken, we serve differently now. So
Uh-huh.
it's pretty difficult. It's not like we used to do it on the corner where a big line would show up. So it's pretty hard to meet me any place now because the truck goes all to different places.
Right.
So that part of it is difficult. So by even calling me tonight, you're being a powerful service here and also an inspiration. So don't negate that fact. It's not so much that you have to go down with, and you're already doing something. So please understand that. Do you understand that?
I perfectly understand that.
Okay, and that's
And Frank, I just want to tell you one other thing, and that is that the love that's coming from his heart is generated by a magnet of a force, which I can't even express. And it really puts my heart into cello. And I just wanted to call and thank him tonight.
It's beautiful. We appreciate it, Kent, and we hope you take care of yourself, and thanks for the call. Mike, you're on the air on KLOS Los Angeles with Ray Castellani. How are you, Mike?
Good. How you doing?
I'm well.
I want to ask Ray. I mean, I'm not trying to discredit him. He sounds like a real angel, but how does he support himself?
Is this Mike? Mike, I'm going to answer that with the last 10 years. I saw a picture of myself last, I think it was about 3 or 4 days ago, 10 years ago when I started this, and I couldn't believe how young I looked. And looking at the picture, and I looked at myself today in the mirror, and I looked so old, and I realized that the streets have taken its toll on me. And Mike, I have been the road the last 10 years here, and nobody knows this. You've asked a question that very few people ask. Has taken its toll on me, both financially, physically, spiritually, and every other way possible. And I haven't made it. I'm married to a woman. She now is a teacher. I got very sick about 3 years ago with my heart because I had a heart condition for the last 15 years. And I got a disability, permanent disability, and also I get a small pension from the Screen Actors Guild. This is now. This is in the past 4 years. I make, through that little process, about $600 a month, and my wife is a school teacher. And between us now, we climbed out of debt, and now we're at least living fairly decently. But 5 years ago, I had to sell hot dogs on a street corner, which is, to me, very demoralizing and very, with the answers I've got to hunger and with the power that could have been demonstrated on the streets of Skid Row, it was a very degrading situation for me. I have newspaper articles that corroborate everything I've said here. This is not a fun trip for me, and never has been a fun trip for me. So I don't like talking about myself. It's not that important. And I will say this to end it, that 560,000 meals have been served. And I'm just not that important when you put the one person up against the 560,000 meals and the people that I've served downtown.
Which, besides the fact that you're doing that, which is great. I mean, I imagine that must be your enjoyment in life, is to be able to feed people. Is that correct?
No, it's not, Mike. No. It's not. It is. I think we started the show today by saying no. This is something that it was like that was orchestrated for me to do, and you must please understand this: that every single thing, that the 560,000 meals, that the Frontline Foundation, that every single thing was orchestrated for me through a source or a power, whatever you want to say. I could not even begin to do this. My enjoyment, the word does not enter into the picture here. I've been obedient, I hope, and that's it. But as far as the one thing I feel, Mike, is when I've finish downtown or when I stop a moment and say, geez, what about today? I fill up with tears. I fill up with tears and I say, I can't express it except in any other way that I just feel humbled when I'm coming back from downtown that I was used as an instrument. So I guess if you want to say the only feeling that I have is tears in my eyes, I guess that's what it is.
Yeah, because there has to be a reason. I mean, people do things for a reason. I'm not saying you're doing it for any selfish reasons, but...
No, I told you the reason why I was directed to do it.
Uh-huh.
Do you have a job?
I work for myself.
Well,
The only thing basically that keeps me going is I know I have to depend on myself. So that's what gets me up in the morning, knowing I have to depend on myself. That motivates me.
Okay, that's fine. I'm not in any conflict here with you, Mike.
I know.
You asked me a question here. I'm trying to let you understand me a little bit.
I just know pretty much all, basically people. I mean, we're all people.
Well,
something has to get them up in the morning. There's got to be something about what you're doing.
Well, I just said, unfortunately, is when you're directed to do something, like if you're directed to pay the rent or then you do your direction, you pay the rent, or you go to work, or you do your job. You're doing it because you're directed by a boss or something like that. In your particular case, you're directed because you want to get up in the morning and make money to go pay your rent, I guess, And I was directed by another source, but I didn't choose that source, and I want you to understand that.
But it chose you.
That's right. That's right. And if you asked me and you said, "Hey Ray, what would your choice be? Beverly Hills or Santa Monica or I'd like to go to Palm Springs and work down there." If
you wanted to, you probably could.
Hey, that's fine. But I don't have that choice.
Right.
I don't, and you got to respect that. That's all you got to do. You don't have to agree with it.
I believe people. I believe people make their own choices. I don't.
That's fine. Remember, I'm only speaking for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, always remember that.
Right.
What you believe, that's beautiful. Mm-hmm. But that's what you believe, and I'm respecting exactly what you say. Mm-hmm. And you got to. All you have to do is respect what I'm saying.
No, I do.
Okay, that's all.
Okay.
I love you, brother.
All right. Have a good night.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay.
Bye-bye. The numbers are 1-800-955-KLOS. We had Dave, and Dave is not there, so we'll go to Bill. You're on the air on KLOS with Ray Castellani.
A very good morning to you, Ray, and a very good morning to you, Frank. Again, thank you for taking my call.
You got to keep it short, though, Bill.
Real quick here, I promise. I just want to preface just by saying, I was listening before, and you said that part of what you do is just to touch another human being, and then I feel that through your very humanistic heart, you've really touched me in that way, and that is really one of the reasons I really got involved in really supporting what you're doing, and I'm humbled because I really felt that a great part of me really didn't deserve to be able to support something like this, but it really gives rise to a whole new appreciation for what love and compassion is, and I really wanted to preface by saying that. But my question, Ray, is of all the years that you've been doing this and really helping those folks down there and really serving humanity, can you think of any one particular occasion or any particular experience or person that touched your heart the most? Is there any particular experience? And also, would you talk about, you received the Presidential Humanitarian Award, I understand, and I've also had the privilege of seeing it, and I detest that it's quite an awesome award. Would you talk about that a little bit, please?
Well, Bill, number one, the Presidential Award, yes, was awarded 2 years ago, and it was a tremendous honor to be honored by the President and by the United States, and we'll let it go at that. But as far as the people downtown, Bill, that's a good question. There is no one particular story that stands out in my mind because there are so many that stand out. I have a relationship with so many people, and every person touches my heart, and it's a phenomenal experience for me every time. And like I said, I've been there for 10 years, which is a lot of moments on those streets. And every person that I come in contact with has a story about Ray and I, or Ray and whoever it is I'm talking about. We've all touched that indescribable feeling of caring for one another, and they caring for me and I caring for them. So I think the whole picture is so awesome that to single out any individual situation would be depriving the whole, and the whole is so much greater than the singleness. And that helps, if that answers your question.
Bill, thank you for the call this morning. We appreciate it. We've got David's the next caller before we take him. Is it easy to love? How's that for a hard question?
That's a very difficult question, Frank, and I probably can't even answer that.
Can I ask it a different way? When you look at the state of the world, and you know that love works, you've seen it on the streets of Skid Row.
Right.
What's it like to sit there and know there's a better way, and yet it seems like most of us aren't interested in trying it out?
What? Those are good questions, Frank. Let me say this: that as you know, I'm a believer in action, and I believe that if I care, and I believe if I love, and if I have gratitude in my heart for my fellow man, I believe it must be translated into action. I believe that's why it's hard for me to answer that question, is because I don't know any of the right words to put into it, but I do know the right actions to put into it. And the right action is it hard, if you would have said, Ray, to touch another human being? I would say no. I would say, yeah, I love to touch. Is it hard to look at another human being and want to hug him? Yes, I love to do that. And that's what the action. Words, Frank, I can say to you 1,000 times, I love you. And they're very vapid. It's a good word.
Great word.
And it has no meaning. Right. And I can say to you, I care. Again, has no empty. But if I help a little old lady across the street, that designates so much. That tells me so much. It tells me about the person caring. I was talking to Ed Sheber about not going to his post office box. That tells me a lot about a human being. They're afraid. Something might be there that they don't want. They might have a bill that they have to pay. They might be audited. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
By not wanting to go to the post office box. So it's all deals in an action. Everything is based upon actions, and I don't care. So that's why I think that's why it was hard for me to answer, or not why I couldn't answer that question, is because it was. I don't have the capability, number one, but number two is that I just translated that into action, and then I can speak a little bit better of it.
I appreciate that. David, you're on the air on KLOS with Ray Castellani.
Morning, guys. It's really good to be talking to the both of you.
Who is this?
David.
Ray, it's a great privilege. It's my first time talking to you.
Oh, David.
And I'd like to relate an observation that I experienced earlier this evening. And I'd like to see if it's something that you experience a lot there in Skid Row or not. I imagine it is. I was on my way back. I'm at work right now. And I was on my way back from the store, and I noticed a homeless woman up against the wall sitting down on the ground. And there was 3 cop cars and probably about 5 or 6 police surrounding her with a flashlight in her face. And I guess my question is, it appeared that she was being harassed. They weren't trying to help her out. And it really distressed me, and I almost felt like I don't want to turn it into like an anti-cop thing because I do support the police, but why does it seem like some police feel like they have to harass people who are helpless?
I can't answer that. I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you know, Frank.
I don't profess to know what goes on in the mind of other people. I would imagine police have a tough job, and all the incidents are unique unto themselves. And
sure.
I mean, we can get into the conversation of that, but if you're asking the question, I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
Is that something that you see a lot there at Skid Row, though?
Yeah, but it's a different kind of harassing. I mean, going from the sun side to the shady side, and from the shady side to the sun side, and having giant sweeps of humanity up. But there's reasons for all that, and I just don't get into that. Because if I did, that's not my. I'm just not called upon to do that. When they go in the sun side, I'll take care of them, and when they go in the shade side, I'll take care of them. When it's raining, I'll take care of them. When it's hot out, I'll take care of them. That's my job, or that's my job. I don't want to say job, but that's my situation. Calling. You're very good. Yeah, calling. So that let me ease the pain a little bit. Let me be that person instead of saying why are you doing this. Let me ease their pain for a moment, and so that's what I tried to focus on. I've been harassed down there by the police, but if I gather a crowd in front of a store that's doing business, and just to give them food, I can say, oh man, I'm just giving them food, but that's not what I'm there for. I'm not there to make problems for people. I'm there to ease the pain of everybody, including the storekeepers and the people on the streets. Mm-hmm. So I have to understand that, and the police job, or the storekeeper's job, and the people's on the street job. Everybody has to respect everybody else, and everybody has to have the same amount of compassion and understanding for each other in order for it to work. It meaning the tranquility or the communion of people. It can't be just pointing these fingers at each group or that group or this group, or it's got to stop. So that's I'm just there to ease the pain for a moment, and I don't like what goes on. I don't like a lot of stuff that goes on. My God, I could fill this whole program with things that you wouldn't understand and say, why does it happen this way? But why doesn't somebody support me who can serve all this humanity downtown, and why am I all by myself all the time? Here I got a program that can serve hundreds of thousands of human beings, and because I'm not dealing with kids or battered women, I'm a pariah. Because I'm dealing with the street people who were kids too at one. I could keep on going on that stuff, but I've learned a long time ago that phrase I used earlier, what he is speaks so loud I cannot hear a word he says, by example. Let me be an example. Let me be an example of what the principles of what I stand for, and then I can move a mountain. And so that's what I don't. If I sit here and talk about it, then I'm going to be full of baloney. And even though I like baloney, I'm not going to. Anyway, you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
Yeah. So I think that's.
I'd just like to make this one last comment, and then I'll let you go. It's a pity. It seems it's easier to move a mountain these days than it is to move people to action.
That's right.
To do something about the problem.
That's right. And the problem is simple. It's just caring. It's no big deal. My God, the people aren't asking to be moved. The people are just saying, "Hey, leave me alone, man. Yeah. Leave me alone. Don't I just want to." That's all they're saying. They sweep up, they clean up. Everything is clean down there in their areas. That's all. And it's a difficult situation when it's only the outside that wants to change the inside.
Well, I really love you for what you do.
Thank you.
And I wish I was as I don't know what the word is.
You are. You are right now. You are because you cared enough to call. Please understand that.
Well,
you're a beacon of light wherever you go if you got the good feeling inside your soul.
Thank
so
you.
don't. I am just an instrument doing what I'm supposed to be doing. You're the one that's calling and taking a step out.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Okay, and Frank?
Yeah, David?
I love you too, man.
I love you too.
Take it easy.
Thanks for the call.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I got one too.
That's okay.
He's a nice man. He's a nice man. Let me give out the mailing address again, and then we'll kind of make a couple closing comments and wrap it up. If you would like to contact Ray, if you would like to get more involved in the Frontline Foundation, with the many outlets by which you can do that, the mailing address is P.O. Box 570-303, Tarzana 91357. Again, P.O. Box 570-303, Tarzana 91357. Or if you would like to go to Frontline, you can do it any day of the week but Sunday. And I think you give the directions best. If somebody wants to come down.
Right. It's in the valley. It goes from Sepulveda Boulevard, the cross section. The cross street is Oxnard. You take a left on Oxnard and go towards the 405. And the first alley in the left, take a left. First alley to the left, take a left, right after Granger. And when you get to the open spaces, look for the sign, big sign, Frontline Foundation. And we're there, like I said, from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock, 9:30. We have quite a few volunteers coming in every day. So on Saturday, they're there from 6 o'clock in the morning. So it's a beautiful situation for so many people.
Mm. What time are you up in the morning, or just a few
this
hours?
Morning, I know. I'm going to be up at 4:30 this morning, 5 o'clock. And
are you going to be over in the kitchen?
Yeah, I have to go down. I have to serve the people tomorrow morning. We're going to make, Bob Cohen is coming over to make us soup. And so we're going to be there 7 o'clock. I'll be there at probably, hopefully before 7. One of my volunteers can't make it, so. And then downtown. And it's it'll. I got out of that one. I don't know how you do it, Frank, waking up and especially when you're sleeping and then wake up. I went to sleep tonight and I woke up and boy, it was like 11 o'clock. I said, "Oh my God, this is what he does all the time, along with Tammy." I said, "I can't handle this." I mean, thank God I don't have to. But I got to get up early in the morning this morning. But it'll all work, I guess. Anyway, it's I want to wish you happy Easter, Frank, and I just again want to reiterate what I started by saying. I want to thank all those listeners and all those people and all the support, and I also want to say that I have a cry of despair within my own soul or framework. And that cry of despair is that I need as much help as I possibly can get, wherever it comes from. And the people are so generous. The people that are connected or hear us are so generous in their words, from Santa Barbara to Ojai to wherever you go, I get these beautiful notes from. And so to all those people, and to my friend Tammy, I just want to humbly thank each and every one of them, from Malibu to Laguna to wherever this my voice goes or our voice goes. And it is I mean, even the callers tonight, we didn't get any women, by the way, on the program, so I think that's I don't know what they call that, but not having any women on the show, I think some of the women should have called in and at least revolted against the was an all-male show. But I do have a cry of despair, and the cry of despair is the hope for humanity. And I care enough to step out, to be different, not to be the norm, and not to sit in a room on my butt saying how grateful I am. And that's what I am. My inners are sad. They're not happy. I know Peter or one of them said, "Am I happy?" No, I'm not. I'm not happy. I'm not. There's a great sadness inside of me. There's a great sadness inside of my whole heart and soul and body about humanity. And I see it. I take heed to it. And I'm not playing any games. I'm not trying to rehabilitate the world in any way, shape, or form. I'm just trying to be an example of a few little principles. And hopefully that will... that's my side of the street. But I thank you, Frank, humbly thank you for all the effort you put in to Frontline Foundation and for the betterment of mankind and all your listeners. And with that, I will shut up.
We'll be quiet and listen to a little bit more Frank Sinatra.
I love you, Frank.
I love you too, Ray. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.